So 3 quarterbacks in the last 50 seasons have led the NFL in passing yards per game and passing TD to interception ratio in a single year. Joe Montana, 1989, Tom Brady, 2007, C.J. Stroud in 2023. 273.9 yards a game, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks. If you're a rookie quarterback and you're on a list with Joe Montana and Tom Brady, you're playing pretty well.
Yeah, that list is crazy. I had looked up, I was writing something about the top like 5 or 6 Texans to keep an eye on. So I looked up Stroud's stats, and he's still, top 10 in the league in passing yards, but that's without, even with missing a couple games. So I had not noticed that yards per game stat, and I knew how good the interceptions were. See, I don't want to ruin it for the audience, but you got to get a little rundown. And I saw that thing, and I was like, oh, my gosh, looked it up, added it to my story because that stat is as good as anyone you'll find to show you how well that he's played.
Yeah, and, I keep going back to all the crap that comes out of the combine during the you remember the thing that he doesn't process information well? That's why everything you hear leading up to the draft, and we're still going to hear it, take it with a grain of salt. Look at what the guy does on the field, and that's a pretty good indication, especially at the quarterback position.
Well, right, and how much Carolina must be kicking itself, right, to trade that pick, to trade Bryce Young instead of C.J. Stroud. And, and who knows, Young might become great, right? You can't make these decisions after 1 year, but he's not as big. He doesn't throw it as well, right? His arm's not as strong. C.J. Stroud's probably just as good an athlete, if not better. Like, there's a lot of reasons to like Stroud in that matchup, and there were during the draft process, right? So, I think the Texans, if they had the number 1 pick, would have taken Stroud ahead of Young. It just he kind of fell into their lap. And, you watch the game Saturday night. He stood in the pocket with guys around him and made good throws, which is a huge sign for a quarterback. And, when you talk about the Browns defending him, he doesn't run a ton, but they have to be aware of that because he's a really good athlete. He can run, and those off-schedule, those third down conversions when he scrambles, like that's something they need to be wary of because that can make the difference in a tight ball game.